Good evening and welcome to Product Highlight with Inked and Tiled. I'm Nancy Dodge from YB Stamp. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and I will be your hostess this evening. So I hope you've been watching my posts that I've been posting all week, giving you a little sneak peek of the items. So here is the page from the annual catalog of the Inked and Tiled. There's a Inked and Tiled stamps, inked Botanical, I have to say that, it's a tough one, designer series paper. There's also ribbon, but I didn't grab the ribbon, I just grabbed the other two items. So here's a better look at the Inked and Tiled, well, it's Inked Botanical designer series paper. There are 24 different designs, so there are 48 different 6x6 sheets, 12 different designs, both front and back. So if you can see them, like one, I have them side by side, so like the first two are the front and back, the second two are front and back, the third two are front and back, just so that you can get an idea of what the paper looked like. So let's start with, here is the stamp set, and I've been playing a lot with this designer series paper, so it's kind of a mess, but it's really pretty. I love it. It looks like you see a lot of the crushed curry, but there really is all four colors throughout here. It's just that I've been messing with it so much. I will put that aside, and I'm going to show you a couple different ways to use this set. So the first that I'm going to show you is I've cut some of the designer series paper so that you can, these are two different ones, and as you can see there's totally different designs on the front and back. Hi Steph. So what I'm going to do is, and these are from the scalloped contours that I had previously cut. This is Calypso coral paper, and I have a little banner. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to adhere this to the card base. This card base is the normal 8.5 by 11 cut in half and then scored at 4 1/4. So I'm just going to center this on here, and then I'm going to take this and a stamp. I think I will use this one. Get a block. So for those of you that aren't familiar with these stamps, there are two different kinds of stamps. This one is the regular rubber stamp, and then there's also the clear polymer stamp that are used for like two-step stamping. So I'm going to stamp right on this designer series paper. So I'm going to ink it up good. Can you see the ink on it? And I'm going to stamp it right on here. How's that? Adds a whole different effect to it. Then I'm going to mount it on this. And I love the Scalloped Contours die set. You could use it for so many things. It's just awesome. Center it as best I can. Then I'm going to use some dimensionals. Dimensionals are little hexagon shaped things, and they pop things up just a little bit to add some extra dimension to your cards. So I'm going to pop these on, and I need a sentiment. Let's see what will fit on that spot. How about happy birthday? Looks good. So I'm going to get my block out and my ink. Gently tap it. I always tell my beginner stampers to stamp on a splat mat like this piece of paper underneath so that you can get a feel for things. And then I'm going to go ahead and mount this right on the accent banner piece. I think I'm going to cut that just a smidge because it's just a little bit too long. That's much better. Alright, now I'm also going to add dimensionals to this banner. So I think, I don't know how I want to put it. Let's see. I think I don't want this piece on there. I'm going to add some Stamp and Seal instead. I'm going to mount this. So this is a little monochromatic. I like doing those cards every once in a while. And then I'm going to put this happy birthday here. And let's see what I have to add to. I have some of these I think I'll add. These are iridescent rhinestones. Just to give it a little extra. I like the smaller ones better. That's okay, whatever you like. We all have different preferences, I will say that. So there's our whoops, I forgot, I did do a piece on the inside. So I just took an extra strip of this designer series paper. So it's, I think it's a 1/2 inch or 3/4 of an inch by 4 inches. I'll put this on the inside. I forgot that I pre-did that on this one. I don't think I did them on all, but I did do it on this one. So if I don't have an image or a sentiment to put on the inside, I like to add a little something. I don't want to put just a white piece of cardstock. So there's our first card. Now I need to quick clean. So this is a Stampin' Scrub, and I use the Stampin' Mist. And in the Stampin' Scrub there's raindrops on one side and sunshine on the other. So I just give this a squirt, scrub, you can see a little foam, and then dry. And then also my sentiment, scrub, and dry. I'll put that aside. Alrighty, my next card that I want to show you. So if you watched my post, you saw that I made a designer series paper all just with stamps. So I'm going to use this same stamp and 3 different colors. And I'm going to stamp on here in all different directions to kind of give it a designer series paper look. Alright. I'm going to start with the crushed curry and just kind of stamp it off a little bit. I think I'll do 2 in each color, lightly tapping. Pull out my Stampin' Scrub, give it a quick wash and dry. And then I'm going to use, I think this is Garden Green. And I dropped my Stampin' Scrub on the floor because I put it on my lap. Hold on when I pick it up. Give it a quick, whoops, fell upside down. Good thing I checked the corner. And then I think this is copper clay is the other one that I picked. Just wanted to give it a little. So now I have some spots here. So I think what I'll do, ink up the corner here and just kind of fill in a little bit. But as you can see, it's starting to just pop. Let's see, I think I'll take some of this crushed curry. Yeah, how's that? It's pretty, isn't it? Alright, I'm going to close up all my inks. And I have some, I thought it was crushed curry, but now it looks like a different color. Oh well. We're just going to go with it. Alright, I have some copper clay here. And I thought I would, let's see, how about if we use just a note? Pull out the copper clay ink. Ink it up. Stamp it. Close it. We don't want to end up with our fingers in the ink. Now I'm going to mount it on this, and then I'm going to cut it to size. So I have it the width that I wanted. I just wasn't sure what sentiment I was going to use. I'll take out my snips. I'm just going to trim it. Then I'm going to use the dimensionals that I have here. So this is bothering me that it's the wrong color. So I'm going to quick whip out. I have a whole drawer full of scraps here. And I think I have a piece that will match. Already cut. I just need to use my bone folder. So that's one of the nice things about Stampin' Up! Is all the colors match and coordinate. So I'm going to use my stamp and seal for this. Just mount it right on the front. Then I'm going to take my banner and I'm going to put it right in the middle. Then I'm going to add a little bit of color with these. These are the 2023-2025 in color dots. So I'm going to use colors that are in here. Do a couple of them since it's kind of plain. My fingernails are not cooperating tonight. All right. There. Card number 2. Alrighty, now this third card that I'm going to show you, I'm going to do 2 different ways. Let me just quick clean this before I end up with that ink all over me, because I'm really good at that. Wash and dry. Okay. So I have here pecan pie, flirty flamingo, and old olive. Now the first thing I'm going to do with these is I'm going to use sponge daubers to ink up the stamp. So I have my block, and I have my stamp, and I'm going to color the stem, the pecan pie. So I'm just going to lightly tap on the ink pad and then lightly tap on the stamp. I'm only covering the stem and leaves. And then in the old olive, different sponge. Whoops, nope, that's the next one. Flirty flamingo, we're going to color the flowers. And then I have a piece of very vanilla. Now I'm going to just breathe on this to make sure it didn't lose some of its moisture, and stamp it right on the cardstock. Like that. Not pretty? And then I'm going to take this that I didn't clean yet because I wasn't paying attention, but I did notice. So I'm going to quick wash and dry. Now I could take this and ink it up, or I could just take it and directly put it on the ink pad, which is what I'm going to do with this one. And just give it a little extra color. Like that. Alright. Now, I'm going to use these same colors. And I'm going to use the same stamps. Just quick clean it. Alright, it's all clean. So I'm going to stick this one aside, and I have the same color cardstock, but this time I'm going to use my markers. So I'm going to color the flower in first, and I always use the brush end. It depends on what you want, but I use the brush and do it on the side, not directly on it. This is otherwise you'll ruin the point. Can you see the ink on it? Alright. So there are the flowers. And then I use the pecan pie for the stems. And the leaves. So like I said, use the side. This is a great way if you don't have all different kinds of colors to stamp with. This is a great way to add more color to what you've got. So I'm going to breathe on it to make sure it has plenty of moisture and stamp it. And then I will take the leaf one and I'll color it. Again, if I wanted to, I could stamp it instead, but for those of you that might not have all different kinds of or different colors of stamp pads, this is a great alternative. Alright, then just breathe on it. Make sure it's got moisture and stamp. Hi Sarah. So here's the same stamp, two different methods. I don't know which one you like better. I like them both. But I wanted you to see that there's more than one way to get the colors that you want. And then I'm going to put it on this cardstock. So I cut this. This is the normal size cut in half, 8.5 by 11, so that it's 5.5 by 8.5 scored at 4 3/4. And this is cut to 4 by 5 1/4, and this one is cut 3 3/4 by 5. I just thought it would make it a little pop out. I like putting something underneath. Kind of pulls things together sometimes, depending on the project that you're doing. And you could always put dimensionals under this too if you wanted. The markers do work on the clear stamps. Not as well, but they do work on the clear stamps. Alright, I'm going to put that here. And I could just stamp, which I think I will actually, because I can. I think I'll stamp happy birthday right here, right on it. I'm going to do that in Flirty Flamingo instead of putting a banner on it, which is actually better if you're going to mail it, because then you don't take the chance of having to do extra postage. You know, when you start adding all the fun bling things, it's extra postage. Alright, so that's that card. I showed you 2 different ways. So in addition to those that we just did, those are the ones that we just did, I have the ones that I showed you. I don't remember if I showed them all to you online, but see, this I stamped similar to that, except I cut it smaller and mounted it. This one I did also very similar. I stamped it right directly on the designer series paper. And then this one I cut and then cut out using the countryside dies. So that's what I've got for you this evening. I hoped you learned something or were inspired by this set. The sentiments are so versatile because they say happy birthday, thank you, thinking of you, congratulations, just a note, hello. So you could do almost anything with this set. And I feel like these stamps, let me show you back again. These stamps are very subtle, so they give you a feeling of being relaxed, I think. You know, it's not like, boo, wow. It's just like, oh, isn't that pretty? Anyway, I do hope I inspired you. And next Sunday we will be doing kit night, paper pumpkin or kit of your choice on Zoom. If you want to participate, or if you're curious about what it's all about, please contact me through my website, ybstamp.com, and I will send you the Zoom link. Until then, happy stamping.